Welcome. In this explainer, we're going to journey through verses 101 to 125 of Surah Al-Imran. We'll be digging deep into the language and the context to understand the Quran's blueprint for a truly faithful community. So, here's what we've got lined up. We'll start with the absolute guarantee of guidance. Then we'll talk about this powerful metaphor of the rope of Allah. From there, we'll get into the community's mission, some really serious warnings, and see it all play out in the dramatic lesson from the Battle of Uhud. Finally, we'll unpack the real price of victory. All right, let's kick things off with a foundational promise. This is a promise from Allah to anyone and everyone who truly seeks His protection. Okay, check this out, because the language here is so precise. The verse uses the word ya'tasim, which means to hold on tight, to seek refuge. But then it adds this little particle qad. In Arabic, qad injects a sense of absolute certainty. So this isn't saying if you hold on, you might be guided. No, it's a guarantee. The moment you hold firmly to Allah, you have already been guided. It's a done. So, building on that personal guarantee of guidance, the Quran introduces one of its most powerful metaphors for how a community should function. Now this isn't a gentle suggestion. It's a command for collective action. It's telling every believer to grab hold of this central anchor together. So, the obvious question is, what exactly is this rope? The rope of Allah, or Hablallah, is the religion of Allah itself. And it's such a brilliant metaphor because a rope does two things at once. First, it's your personal lifeline connecting you straight to your Creator. But second, it binds all of those individual lifelines together, weaving them into one strong, unified community, the Jama'ah. And this isn't just a beautiful idea. It had real-world, life-saving consequences. The verse talks about being saved from a pit of fire. Well, this is a direct reference to the Aus and Khazraj, two tribes in Medina who were trapped in these bloody, generations-long feuds. They were literally about to destroy each other. Islam was the rope that pulled them back from that pit and turned bitter enemies into brothers. So once this unity is established, what's next? The Quran then moves to define the very purpose of this community, its unique role in the world. Believers are given this really profound title, Khayra Ummah, the best community. But as we're about to see, this isn't just some honorary title to make you feel good. It comes with a massive, active responsibility. Commentators point to this verse as a pivotal moment, the passing of the torch of global leadership to the Muslim community. And again, the language is key. The word ukhrijat is passive, brought out, implying this community was raised by Allah for a purpose. And what is that purpose? It's an active, ongoing duty, ta'mudrona, you command, you enjoin, you establish good, and you forbid evil. The leadership is conditional on the mission. Of course, with great responsibility comes great danger. So the Quran immediately shifts to some crucial warnings about threats, both from the outside and even more dangerously from within. The word used here, batana, is just perfect. It literally means the inner lining of a piece of clothing, the part that's closest to your skin. So metaphorically, it's your inner circle, your closest friends, the people you share your secrets with. This was a direct warning to the Muslims in Medina about certain groups, including the hypocrites, who smiled to their faces but were actively trying to sabotage them from the inside. And the very next verse lays out this incredibly stark contrast. It's just a picture of one-sided sincerity. On one hand, you have the believers, who are told to believe in all the revealed books, including the ones the others follow. But on the other side, you have people who are so consumed with hatred that the Quran uses this vivid image. They bite their fingertips at you in rage. It's a powerful lesson on the naivete of offering true friendship to someone who is actively seeking your downfall. So you've got these core principles: unity, mission, and caution. Now, all of it is about to be put to the ultimate test in the fiery crucible of the Battle of Uhud. Just imagine the pressure. The Prophet marches out with 1,000 men, but on the way, the leader of the hypocrites, Abdullah bin Ubay, decides to turn back, and he takes 300 men with him, a third of the army gone. Suddenly, the remaining 700 Muslims are facing a well-armed force of 3,000. They're outnumbered more than 4 to 1. The Prophet's initial strategy was brilliant. He placed 50 archers on a small hill to guard their flank, and he gave them one crystal-clear order: do not move, no matter what happens. And at first, it worked perfectly. The Muslims were winning, and the enemy started to retreat. But then came the critical error. Seeing the battle turning and the spoils of war on the ground, most of the archers forgot their orders. They abandoned their post to get their share. That one moment of disobedience created the perfect opening for the enemy cavalry to sweep around and attack from behind, turning a sure victory into a near-total disaster. So, after this incredibly painful experience, the Quran distills the ultimate lesson. It clarifies, once and for all, what the real conditions are for receiving help from Allah. Now, before the battle, there was this promise of divine reinforcement, yumidakum, help in the form of thousands of angels. And they're described as musawimin, which means they were marked or specially distinguished. But here's the thing, this incredible promise was never unconditional. It was explicitly tied to what the believers themselves did. And that brings us to the core lesson of Uhud, a lesson that echoes through time. What does it take to earn divine help and victory? The verse spells it out. If you remain patient and conscious of Allah. Those are the two conditions. Sabr, which is that steadfast patience, perseverance when things are falling apart, and taqwa, God consciousness, which translates directly into discipline and obedience to clear commands. At Uhud, for a moment, the desire for worldly gain caused a lapse in both, and the price was steep. The price of victory then and now has always been and will always be sabr and taqwa.